It's my pleasure to welcome you here today to the Carbon Conversations, Charting a Sustainable Future. My name is Stephen Franklin, and I'm the president of Trent University, and I would like to thank you all for joining us here tonight. The Trent Center for Biomaterials Research, which is located at Trent University at the Peterborough campus, is unique in North America and is on the cutting edge of research and technology development that is changing the world. The research conducted at the Trent Center for Biomaterials Research aims to create a more sustainable future, and it brings together the sciences with humanities and social sciences to examine biomaterials within an ethical framework. The research touches on agricultural utilization and the geographical, environmental, and commercial impacts. And I'm sure for those of you who had a chance to meet some of our students and researchers, it's easy to see why we have so much hope and find so much inspiration for a sustainable future. So I'd like to begin the evening by introducing our moderator for the panel. Our moderator is Dr. Suresh Nareen, a Trent alumnus, director of the Trent Center for Biomaterials Research. Suresh is the Ontario Research Chair in Green Chemistry and Engineering, and he's a NSERC chair. NSERC is the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council of Canada. He's a senior industrial research chair in lipid-derived biomaterials. In 2011, Suresh was named one of Canada's top 40 under 40, and his research is pushing us towards a greener future. Please welcome Dr. Suresh Nareen.
Thank you, and thank you, Stephen. And welcome. There are so many dignitaries and close friends stretching back to my notorious undergraduate years here that I hope you'll forgive me if I dispense with the usual protocol. However, I look forward to an evening among family tonight because I think what we have here is very indicative of the way Trent University conducts its business. We've got people here from distinctly 3 or 4 different walks of life. We've got members of the Caribbean and Guyanese diaspora, and welcome to all of you. We've got people from David's and Annette's and to a certain extent my life, the Bay Street crowd, so to speak, and welcome to you. And then, last but not least, we've got our students and academics from Trent. And we like to think that at Trent University, this is the way we see the world and engage the world, through conversations and through community. And so whilst we like to think that Toronto is on the doorsteps of Peterborough, this is also part of our community. I'm delighted to welcome you to this event and to see so many of you out here. And we're here to talk about carbon. Why? Why talk about carbon? Well, for one, none of us could live if we didn't have carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Our world stays warm because of the greenhouse effect, and we depend on carbon in order for us to stay alive. We would all freeze to death if we didn't have carbon dioxide. The issue is, however, carbon has become one of the single most important threats to our way of life because of its proliferation due to our activities, anthropogenic activities. And it touches on very many facets of our life. Of course, one of the, perhaps the most readily example that comes to mind would be carbon emissions from petroleum. But carbon is also very important to our food supply. Most of our bodies are made up of almost entirely carbon. And our world is regulated by the exchange of carbon. I want to, because I'm a scientist, we tend to be people that like to lecture, and I want to spend 1 minute talking to you about something called the carbon cycle because it's vitally important. See, the carbon cycle is how we regulate the amount of carbon that we have in the atmosphere. We have plants that photosynthesize by taking carbon out of the atmosphere and fixing it into tissues. And then, through decay and respiration, that carbon is released. Every year, about 2 gigatons of that carbon is sequestered in the earth and below the sea. And over 500-600 millions of years, that 2 gigaton of carbons builds. And that has contributed to our source of fossil fuel. Now, the issue is that over the past 6 decades or so, we have been releasing that store of carbon from fossil fuels into the atmosphere. And as a result, we are releasing carbon at a rate which is incommensurate with the ability of the photosynthesizer, our world's forests and crops, to fix it. So we have a net source of carbon without a corresponding sink. Yet, our entire society, modern society, is built on the use of energy. So, of course, we face a conundrum. How are we to continue to survive, yet knowing our mere survival contributes to the fact that we are heating our atmosphere beyond to the point where we can return? And this is exactly why we have the Carbon Conversations. Today, we are indeed very fortunate to have a stellar panel with us.